Kia ora te whānau. Lovely to see everybody. You are with us for another light lunch. It's the New Zealand Institute of Building. We're going to have a really fast-paced 15 minutes of your light lunch. So you might be listening to us in your car on your way to work, or you might be with us in real time having lunch right now. So today, as we trend towards the end of 2022, we have got my board chair, John Hemi, and my board deputy chair, Sonia Muir. So let's hear, first of all, John, what do you do when you're not being the New Zealand Institute of Building board chair?
Thanks, Pam. My day job is with Te Waihanga, the New Zealand Infrastructure Commission, where I currently have a title which is a bit ominous for me. It's the Director of Construction Productivity. So and 2 days a fortnight in Wellington at our head office, which is where most of the government agency staff are, and the rest of the time out of Auckland.
Well,
nice to meet you.
I'm feeling very relieved, and I will probably sleep better at night now that I know that someone's in charge of construction productivity. Sonia, what are you in charge of?
I'm in charge of trying to teach contractors how to talk to consultants. So after 25 years on the consultant client side of things, I've actually joined Naylor Love as the lead of their national design management team, and I'm helping them with ECI and design build and how to get those two parts of our industry to actually understand each other and talk the same language.
Awesome. That sounds like a really important pointy end of the conversation. Yeah. Now, we have got the usual format in terms of 3 more serious things to help inform you. We'll be sending the URLs and any kind of tidbits out in the show notes. And then we will also have 3 questions on a slightly different theme than usual. So first of all, John, what's one thing keeping you awake at night?
Well, Pam, I actually sleep really well at night, and it takes a lot to disturb my sleep. But one of the things I would lie awake at night worrying about is our global declining population and what that means for New Zealand's infrastructure aspirations. We've got a massive infrastructure backlog, a huge pipeline of work, and everyone is really struggling to get the resource they need to deliver those projects. And the world has got the same problem, and we can't just go and turn on the tap and bring in a whole lot of overseas visa holders, even if we let them come in. So yeah, that's one of the things that really bothers me, and is a challenge around what we can do about that, as I've said so.
That is a challenge. Are we creating more people, or are we becoming more efficient? That might be for another time. Sonia, the first thing keeping you awake at night?
Well, it's probably the opposing one to John's, really, because I'm quite excited by the young people we're seeing coming up through the industry. And you listen to the bios that are read out at the awards for both NAWIC and NZIOB for the young achievers. And these are young overachievers. You wonder how they're finding enough hours in the day. Maybe they're not sleeping. But it's amazing to see them coming through and to see what things they're going to come up with and how they're going to think of doing things differently. So while we might have less people, hopefully we've got a better quality people. Is that a terrible
no, that's great.
That's coming through that's going to help.
So we've got these rising stars. So how can we extract some of the juice from them? Yeah, well, certainly some of the rising stars we're profiling here on Light Lunch, and we'll have a few more coming out in the podcast that we're launching for next year. John, what's number 2 on your
another thing keeping me awake. So construction productivity is a problem, and I'll explain why I'm really that bothers me. So we've got a huge amount of potential to do things way better. There's a report that we could be 40% more efficient in what we do if we remove the blockages and the barriers and the bureaucracy. And at a time when we've got COVID impacts and all the supply chain pressures that have come from that, we've also got a massive amount of central government reform and change, new regulations, environmental issues. There's so much up in the air. And the way to get efficient and productive is to be consistent and standard in the way you do stuff. Then we've just got so much change. So that's a real that's something to worry about. We'll solve it, but it's just something that would keep me awake at night.
Now I'm wondering if you really are sleeping. But I guess one of the pieces of regulation that might be contributing to that 40% that we're not currently being efficient in might have been the RMA. And of course, this week we've had changes and updates. So we will send out those links that everybody is up to speed with the changes post RMA, and we'll be watching that space pretty closely, I think.
Yes, slow space. Yeah.
Over the next few years.
Yes.
Sonia, what's your number two?
Number two is probably the environmental side of things. So it's the sustainability. It's the what are we doing as an industry to recognise climate change, to actually stop just greenwashing, and to all get on board, because there's been a surprisingly light uptake around that. I mean, the first Green Star buildings, which two of them were here in Wellington in 2009, similar times when those hard hats appeared. It's been a long time since then, and it's still not becoming the standard. It's not as automatic as we had hoped it would be. It's great to see the move towards mass timber buildings now coming through, and it's quite interesting to see how much that technology has moved on, and there's a lot of people working in that space, but it is that kind of what are we doing to get better at it?
Yeah,
we still no.
It just feels like something that we'll do when we get round to it.
Yeah, and we too easily slip back into the but it's cheaper and easier to do concrete and steel, what we know, how we did it last time. So yeah, it's that how do we actually start living and breathing and deal with this?
So maybe one of the things the Institute of Building can do is help demystify some of the things around mass timber in terms of actually how do we implement, how do we do it, how do we get started, and how to demystify some of the carbon jargon, if you like.
Yeah.
If we could just all speak the same language and know what it is that we're measuring. So we'll be speaking with some folks from Building for Climate Change at MB, as well as just basically following what the Green Building Council is doing in that space. Okay, so John, your third thing keeping you awake at night.
So the third thing is a bit more of a general thing. I find it quite disturbing, is not the right word, but irritating how we're a consensus society. Everyone has to agree before we let ourselves do something, and that just creates so many roadblocks and barriers, and it's particularly heightened recently with Donald Trump, fake news allegations, and all of that sort of scaremongering. So it's just the squeaky hinge getting the attention, and any good idea gets undermined by the minority loud voice to undermine it. So that's something that at a societal level we've got to figure out how we can actually do the things we need to do for our futures and our future generations.
So is this, just paraphrasing, about how do we elevate the voice of the expert? How do we bring the expert voice forward and create some influence?
One of the things that we've been talking about at work is how we can be influential. It's all very well to be right and have all the data to back you up. If people don't believe you or want to believe you, or there's somebody else that's saying, it's a load of crap, you've made all that up, and
So there's a strong role for communication.
We're not allowed to swear, but calling bullshit is a good book that I suggest you read, because it's got a whole lot of those sort of scenarios, and how powerful a lie is, and how quickly it spreads, and how much more effort's involved in getting the truth to counteract that lie out and distribute it, the amount of time that much more time it takes to get the truth out there. So
nice. I think that one just made my summer reading list. Sonia, what's your third thing keeping you awake at night?
Well, my third thing is probably my day job, in terms of, and it's the micro scale of John's macro. It's how do I make sure that designers and builders can talk to each other and talk to the best of projects, so that I don't have a bunch of contractors saying bloody architect, and I don't have a bunch of designers saying bloody contractor. And we're all building the same building, we've all got the same goal, but we so often don't understand each other, and it's the same them and us and other attitude, which you're sort of talking about at a societal level within our projects, and we need to all be on the same page and working together on these projects.
100%. How do we communicate? How do we create an even playing field? How do we create trust and transparency in our contracts and our conversations? We've been talking about this a huge lot at the office here, because we're looking at reshaping some things around the refresh of our institute, around how we reframe our awards to make them really relevant to everyone and how we behave in the industry. And I think we're going to see a report finally come out of the Accord about people, which puts behaviour and how we act to each other at the forefront of how we can improve our construction industry.
Because we are just people. there's no secret sauce.
That's literally all we are.
It's just people.
Yeah. So I'm loving the black hat, blue hat scenario here, but now we're going to dig into the fun stuff. We've got 5 more minutes left. And look, we've got 3 quick fire questions now. You'll be used to our quick fire questions by now, but these are slightly different because we're in that really crunchy end of year time leading up to Christmas. Some of us might be feeling the stress and not sleeping. Some of us obviously having no trouble sleeping at all, but we just wanted to focus these questions on wellness. So Sonia, first off, can you enlighten us, give us a little tip about something you're reading or listening or watching, and we might learn something from it.
So I have to admit to the fact that the weekend, 'cause it was a long weekend in Canterbury, so I'm based in Christchurch. I ran away to the West Coast with my best friend. We left our husbands and children in Christchurch and it rained. So we spent the day in our pajamas and we watched all of the first series and most of the second series of Bridgerton. So,
Bridgerton.
and I don't think it's Bridgerton that made it good, but we actually stopped and neither of us stopped very often. And it is a problem. So
Awesome.
Stopping and doing that.
There's
was
lots
so
of
good.
good things about Bridgerton. There's great sets, great colours. I said set. Colours. There's great costumes. And there's also some pretty awesome music.
There is actually. The music's cool, actually.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, John, what have you been reading, listening, or watching to if it's not Bridgerton?
Yeah, well, I would watch Bridgerton and have watched Bridgerton, and I think Bridgerton's good. I don't generally watch TV because it's at our house, it's often reality TV, which I get irritated with. So I'll go read the paper and do my favourite pastime is like doing Simon Schucker's word puzzle or the Sudoku in the newspaper, which I generally will do every day when I'm able to. I listen to, so I've got my Spotify always seems to play acoustic covers, which is something that I've been enjoying. So it's modern artists doing older songs in acoustic version.
Oh, that sounds vaguely like the Bridgerton.
It is very much a Bridgerton.
I did like the music in Bridgerton.
There you go. There you go. Okay, Sonia, what's something that you do for yourself to help you with your well-being, other than escaping to the West Coast and wearing your pajamas?
So yeah, the more daily event is actually that my husband and I take the dog for a walk after dinner, and that sounds kind of mundane, but it's the time when it's just the 2 of us. It's when we talk about a whole bunch of stuff so that we don't talk about it when we go to bed, so it doesn't stop us from sleeping. And we get some exercise out of it.
Yeah.
So it's great to have a dog that forces us to do it, really.
Nice. Fresh air, endorphins, and a dog that's still got some energy.
Yeah.
And what about you, John?
I'm in denial. I still think I'm a sports person. So I play hockey and wreck myself. I do hot yoga. But my real escape and indulgence is playing the guitar. So I like to lock myself away. And nothing is more satisfying than when my family pretend to like my guitar playing, which is really nice.
Good on them. I'm not going to say anything that all sounds good. Sonia, to round us up, what's your personal motto?
Personal motto is probably it doesn't have to be perfect to be good. And that applies in both my personal life. That was my mantra when I was single for a very long time. Those of you that know me realize my name's changed.
Congratulations.
But thank you. Very late in life. But also that fail fast mentality from the IT industry. I think sometimes we can labour at things for too long. So
Nice.
Perfect's good, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done.
Well, we at Light Lunch subscribe to that. This is an iteration and progress. Yeah.
My motto?
Yes, please.
So I'm wired as a glass half full person, and I'm quite driven to fix things. So I decided my motto is I can help with that.
I can help with that.
I'm a fixie person.
Awesome. Yes, I have seen that in action. So 2 of the most helpful chair and deputy chairs you could ever want for. Look, I'm just going to chuck one in there too because we've got 60 seconds. So here's another motto to throw in there, which is it's hard to be angry and curious at the same time. Now, I'm just putting that out there for this time of year as we get through the next couple of weeks until the next Light Lunch. So just see if you can do that as well. Curious is a good thing to hold on to. Hey, we've always got a little bit of a broadcast to let you know. We've been going through the country doing member meetups for our strategy refresh, and we'll be online next week, Monday, 21 November. So do join us if you have got something to say or you're curious about your institute. There's a couple of other things to know about. One is we are building our digital community. This is a BIM and NZ steering group and New Zealand Institute of Building collaboration. It's on a very auspicious date, 23/3/23, for those of you that believe in auspicious dates, and I do. That's 23rd of March next year in Wellington at Te Papa, and we've got a full day of international quality speakers and some international keynotes. And one of them is Amy Marks. So we've got another product, if you like, coming out. It's called Industry Insights. It's a little bit more in deep than the light lunch. It's an interactive and it's inverted. We put your questions up front. You can join in from anywhere around the country. We'll be bringing you international experts. So the first one up is Amy Marks, who's going to be our keynote speaker at our International Digicom next year. So that inaugural Industry Insights is coming up on the 16th of December, just in time for Christmas. Well, that's us for time today. Thanks for joining us. We've got a couple more light lunches till Christmas is up. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Ka kite anō.
Merry Christmas.